Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A large and imposing house. The act of dwelling in a place. Any address at which you dwell more than temporarily. A person can have several residences. The official house or establishment of an important person, as a sovereign or president. He refused to live in the governor's residence. United States chemist who developed an economical method of producing aluminum from bauxite, 1863 to 1914. A large entrance or reception room or area. A college or university building containing living quarters for students. United States child psychologist whose theories of child psychology strongly influenced educational psychology, 1844 to 1924. A large and imposing house. An interior passage or corridor onto which rooms open. The elevators were at the end of the hall. English writer whose novel about a lesbian relationship was banned in Britain for many years, 1883 to 1943. The large room of a manor or castle. United States astronomer who discovered Phobos and Deimos, the two satellites of Mars, 1829 to 1907. United States explorer who led 3 expeditions to the Arctic, 1821 to 1871. A large building for meetings or entertainment. A large building used by a college or university for teaching or research. Halls of learning. A large room for gatherings or entertainment. Lecture hall. A large and imposing house. The residence of a clergyman, especially a Presbyterian clergyman. A large and imposing house. Astrology, one of 12 equal areas into which the zodiac is divided. A large and imposing house. The act of dwelling in a place. Acting according to certain accepted standards. The act of abiding, enduring without yielding. The act of dwelling in a place. The position of physician who is receiving special training in a hospital, usually after completing an internship. Any address at which you dwell more than temporarily. Housing that someone is living in. Provide housing for. The immigrants were housed in a new development outside the town. A social unit living together. It was a good Christian household. The members of a business organization that owns or operates one or more establishments. He worked for a brokerage house. Astrology, one of 12 equal areas into which the zodiac is divided. A building where theatrical performances or motion picture shows can be presented. The house was full. A building in which something is sheltered or located. They had a large carriage house. A dwelling that serves as living quarters for one or more families. He has a house on Cape Cod. An official assembly having legislative powers. A bicameral legislature has 2 houses. Aristocratic family line. Contain or cover. This box houses the gears. Play in which children take the roles of father or mother or children and pretend to interact like adults. The children were playing house. The audience gathered together in a theater or cinema. The house applauded. . The management of a gambling house or casino. The house gets a percentage of every bet. The members of a religious community living together. Pretend to have certain qualities or state of mind. He acted the idiot. Behave unnaturally or affectedly. She's just acting. Something that people do or cause to happen. A legal document codifying the result of deliberations of a committee or society or legislative body. Perform an action, or work out or perform an action. Think before you act. A short performance that is part of a longer program. He did his act 3 times every evening. Perform on a stage or theater. She acts in this play. Have an effect or outcome, often the one desired or expected. How does your idea work in practice? Behave in a certain manner. Show a certain behavior, conduct or comport oneself. You should act like an adult. Play a role or part. She wants to act Lady Macbeth, but she is too young for the role. A manifestation of insincerity. He put on quite an act for her benefit. A subdivision of a play or opera or ballet. Be engaged in an activity, often for no particular purpose other than pleasure. Be suitable for theatrical performance. This scene acts well. Discharge one's duties. She acts as the chair. Something that people do or cause to happen. A legal document signed and sealed and delivered to effect a transfer of property and to show the legal right to possess it. He signed the deed. Something that people do or cause to happen. Something that people do or cause to happen. Put an address on an envelope. Social skill. Give a speech to. The chairman addressed the board of trustees. Written directions for finding some location, written on letters or packages that are to be delivered to that location. Speak to someone. Computer science. The code that identifies where a piece of information is stored. Speak to. He addressed the crowd outside the window. The act of delivering a formal spoken communication to an audience. He listened to an address on minor Roman poets. Greet, as with a prescribed form, title, or name. He always addresses me with, sir. Act on verbally or in some form of artistic expression. Access or locate by address. Address or apply oneself to something, direct one's efforts towards something, such as a question. Adjust and aim, a golf ball, at in preparation of hitting. A sign in front of a house or business carrying the conventional form by which its location is described. Direct a question at someone. The manner of speaking to another individual. He failed in his manner of address to the captain. The place where a person or organization can be found or communicated with. The stance assumed by a golfer in preparation for hitting a golf ball. A mansion that is, or formerly was, occupied by an aristocratic family. The mansion of a lord or wealthy person. The landed estate of a lord, including the house on it. A large and stately mansion. A large ornate exhibition hall. Official residence of an exalted person, as a sovereign. The governing group of a kingdom. The palace issued an order binding on all subjects. The mansion of a lord or wealthy person. A large and stately mansion. Chess. The piece that can move any number of unoccupied squares in a direction parallel to the sides of the chessboard. Interchanging the positions of the king and a rook. A large building formerly occupied by a ruler and fortified against attack. Move the king 2 squares toward a rook and in the same move the rook to the square next past the king. The state or quality of being lodged or fixed even temporarily. Structures collectively in which people are housed. The act of lodging. An act of being a tenant or occupant. The act of occupying or taking possession of a building. Occupation of a building without a certificate of occupancy is illegal. An act of being a tenant or occupant. Law. The residence where you have your permanent home or principal establishment and to where, whenever you are absent, you intend to return. Every person is compelled to have one and only one domicile at a time. What's his legal residence? Baseball. Base consisting of a rubber slab where the batter stands. It must be touched by a base runner in order to score. He ruled that the runner failed to touch home. An institution where people are cared for. A home for the elderly. A social unit living together. The teacher asked how many people made up his home. Inside the country. Where you live at a particular time. Deliver the package to my home. The place where you are stationed and from which missions start and end. Housing that someone is living in. They raise money to provide homes for the homeless. An environment offering affection and security. Home is where the heart is. Place where something began and flourished. The United States is the home of basketball. Provide with, or send to, a home. Return home accurately from a long distance. The country or state or city where you live. Canadian tariffs enabled United States lumber companies to raise prices at home. Used of your own ground. A home game. Relating to or being where one lives or where one's roots are. My hometown. A job in an organization. Assign a location to. A point located with respect to surface features of some region. This is a nice place for a picnic. Assign a rank or rating to. The particular portion of space occupied by something. He put the lamp back in its place. A particular situation. If you were in my place, what would you do? Assigned to a station. A space reserved for sitting, as in a theater or on a train or airplane. He sat in someone else's place. Recognize as being. Establish the identity of someone or something. Where you live at a particular time. Your place or mine. Identify the location or place of. Locate. Take a place in a competition, often followed by an ordinal. Put into a certain place or abstract location. A public square with room for pedestrians. Make an investment. Proper or designated social situation. He overstepped his place. A blank area. Any area set aside for a particular purpose. Who owns this place? Estimate. An item on a list or in a sequence. In the second place. Intend, something, to move towards a certain goal. The post or function properly or customarily occupied or served by another. Took his place. A general vicinity. He comes from a place near Chicago. An abstract mental location. He has a special place in my thoughts. Assigned to, a job or a home. Finish second or better in a horse or dog race. He bet $2 on number 6 to place. Place somebody in a particular situation or location. He was placed on probation. Proper or appropriate position or location. A woman's place is no longer in the kitchen. Sing a note with the correct pitch. The passage that is being read. He lost his place on the page. To arrange for. Place a phone call. Make one's home in a particular place or community. Housing that someone is living in. Law. The residence where you have your permanent home or principal establishment and to where, whenever you are absent, you intend to return. Every person is compelled to have one and only one domicile at a time. An official residence provided by a church for its parson or vicar or rector. An official residence provided by a church for its parson or vicar or rector. Residence that is a place of religious seclusion, such as a monastery. Residence that is a place of religious seclusion, such as a monastery. A courtyard with covered walks, as in religious institutions. Seclude from the world in or as if in a cloister. She cloistered herself in the office. Surround with a cloister. Cloister the garden. Surround with a cloister, as of a garden. Australian woman tennis player who won many major championships, born in 1947. Seek someone's favor. A room in which a law court sits. Television cameras were admitted in the courtroom. An area wholly or partly surrounded by walls or buildings. The house was built around an inner court. A tribunal that is presided over by a magistrate or by one or more judges who administer justice according to the laws. The sovereign and his advisors who are the governing power of a state. Respectful deference. Pay court to the emperor. A hotel for motorists, provides direct access from rooms to parking area. Make amorous advances towards. John is courting Mary. The family and retinue of a sovereign or prince. An assembly, including one or more judges, to conduct judicial business. A specially marked horizontal area within which a game is played. Players had to reserve a court in advance. Engage in social activities leading to marriage. We were courting for over 10 years. The residence of a sovereign or nobleman. The king will visit the duke's court.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.